Brian, Maria's got to be on the new agent call now.
Yeah. Well, she wouldn't have to be on the call. She would just get back to, Bullhead City. She could just listen to you from her office.
Right. So. Everybody's like, where in the world is Maria Santiago?
Huh? Yeah, we have one of these almost every morning.
All right, we'll get started, guys. Good morning. Joe Martinez with Symmetry Financial. I've been with Symmetry for 3 years now. And I get the privilege of doing the new agent call. The whole purpose of this call, guys, is for y'all to take notes and apply what you learned today. And more than anything, the purpose of the call is as a new agent to come in here and get you profitable right out the gate, right? So we're going to go over some keys that as a new agent you should be following to help you get success really quick. And then a couple things that we see agents do as a mistake that hold them back, right? So we kind of cover both sides of that to help make sure as a new agent you come in here and you're able to start helping families and start helping yourself, right? So make sure y'all got your notes and paper and pen so we can go over those for y'all. And I get a PowerPoint that Miss Jordan and Mr. Cook just finished off for us. Let me pull that up and let's see. Jordan, are you busy? I'm gonna make you co-host so you can let everybody in if I find you.
Dude, I'm never busy. Come on.
Sometimes.
Also, I want to thank everyone for not judging me for looking as homeless as I am. We did a red-eye flight into Knoxville last night. So this is just what you guys get, but it is coming with a lot of wisdom. So.
You must have had good coffee. You got a lot of energy, it seems.
A Waffle House, baby. I missed it. Waffle House would do really good in Vegas. I was just thinking about that. They need to put one out there.
All right, you are co-host, ma'am.
Thank you.
You have the right. Let me share some screens up in here. Let's see. Boom. All right. Let me know if everybody can see that.
I can see it. You're good to go, man.
Perfect. Awesome. New agent call. All right, we'll get started super quick, right? So a lot of the things that at the very beginning when agents start dialing, right? What hurts us? What are the biggest barriers we see as a new agent, right? Well, let's put the big old pink elephant in the room. Did you get that from me, Jordan? I know you got it from me. I always say that.
Yes, I did.
Putting the pink elephant in the room, right? So what stops us from finding success right away, right? Especially in our first 90 days, guys. We like to be brutally honest with y'all so we can help coach y'all and help you, find success again, right? So the big one is always going to be not enough dials, right? You will always hear us talking about what it takes a new agent, either part-time or full-time. We are very specific with numbers on what it takes to find success here, right? And that's going to be anywhere from 400 to 1,000 dials in your very first week, right? And what does that look like, right? I like to break it down for agents daily, right? You want to be able to hit a good 200 dials a day, right? A number that I love to have that's a big number to look at, especially at the beginning, because you want to be able to accomplish your 200,000 a day. If you're not putting in that activity, especially at the very beginning, it's hard to help coach y'all because you don't have the activity to get you where we need, where as whatever your goal may be, right? You can make your learning curve 6 weeks, or you can make your learning curve 3 or 4, right? That's completely on you and your work ethic and the activity that you're putting in. So as a new agent, make sure we're putting in that kind of activity. What's the next biggest downfall? It's going to be sticking to the script. Okay. As a new agent, we come in here and we have all kinds of backgrounds, right? Like I worked in the restaurant industry, and the company I worked, we were all about a phone script, right? We had scripts for everything, and we thought we were professionals in our field. So when we came in here, I'm looking at our script. I'm not going to lie. I was like, maybe I can change it a little bit, make it better, right? Don't touch it, guys. These scripts have been put in place because they work, right? Just like where we used to work, those scripts were in place because they worked for that industry, right? So don't come in here and try to change anything. Stick to that script, follow it from beginning to the end, because it teaches you to establish why you're calling, which is the main purpose, right? It teaches you to get all the health information that we need so that we can prep for an appointment. And then more importantly, it teaches you how to lock it down, right? A big downfall in a lot of our agents at the very beginning is, hey, I'm booking appointments and they're not showing up, right? Well, they're not showing up because you're not following the script, right? We're not making them pull out a piece of paper. We're not making them write things down. We're not locking it in and making sure that they're going to show up for our appointment. Okay, so it's super vital to make sure we stick to that script. Let's see. Oh, don't work now. Let's see how you are. There you go. Tips being successful on the phone, right? We joke about this one a lot, but I can't express how important it is for people to stay on the phone with you, right? Because we're shocking people when they pick up the phone. And what I mean by shock, what I mean is they're going about their lives, right? They're picking up their kids from school, they're going to the grocery store, they got off of work, they may be at work, whatever it may be, we're randomly calling them. Even though it's a lead, we got to understand you're randomly calling them, asking them to remember what they did whenever the lead was created, right? So it's very important that we don't sound like a telemarketer. What do I mean by that? Make sure we're low and slow, right? So as I'm talking to y'all, right, you hear me get excited and my voice gets high and I start talking faster and getting pumped up, right? Because I love teaching and I love talking about this stuff. But when I'm talking to a client, you will hear me go to this voice and this tone. Hello, John. This is Joe Martinez. I was calling about the letter you received in the mail, right? I go back to a lower and slower tone so that they can feel comfortable, right? I'm not rushing them through whatever it may be. It doesn't matter what pace they have on the other side where, hey, I'm talking slow, I'm talking low. The main purpose, right, for low is, let me put this in y'all's head, right? When they can hear you on the phone, they can be like this. But when you start talking lower and slower, they have to go like this and stop doing everything that they're doing to pay attention to you. Okay? But it's actually, that's the reason why, right? You want them to stop doing what they're doing and pay attention to you. So it's so important that you pay attention to that, right? And it's amazing how sometimes just because we're nervous for the very first time, right? We're dialing and we get on the phone and we get excited because somebody actually picked up the phone and we forget that, right? Instantly forget it. It's amazing. I tell you all this from personal experience, right? I still forget it, right? And I start getting hung up on sometimes and I'm like, okay, I'm not following my script and my teachings, which is I got to slow down and I got to speak a little bit lower. You want them to push the phone against their ear and tell everybody around them, hey, hold on, guys, I can't hear, so that they give you their full attention. That's the magic of low and slow, guys, right? I wanted to put that little science behind it. Now, the triple dial, same thing, right? There's some reasoning and some magic behind it, as I call it, right? Because people don't pick up the phone. That's the age we're in, right? 2021, everyone's trying to do business over the phone and people just don't pick it up. right? So a lot of them are telemarketers. A lot of them are other companies trying to source out leads, right, to get people to pick up the phone. So what we do to establish why we're calling and to differentiate us and get them to pick up the phone is we do a triple dial, right? And that's exactly what it sounds like. So if I have a phone number, a lead, right? So if I'm calling James, I plug in his number and I hit send, right? Goes all the way to voicemail. I always let it go to voicemail so that I can hear what they go by, right? Get their name out there. Because if you got my lead, it's going to say Jose Martinez, but I go by Joe. So if somebody instantly answered, hey, Jose, I know they're not in my circle, right? Because nobody calls me Jose. So if you listen to my voicemail, you get Joe, right? This is Joe Martinez, call me back, blah, blah, blah. So if you let that very first dial go all the way to voicemail, you get the name that they go by. Super important, because then when they pick up the phone and you're able to say, hey, Joe, you instantly have trust there because I know you know me from some source of some way, right? So super important to do that. That very first dial, let it go all the way to voicemail. The second and the third dial, you can let those ring about 4 to 6 times and hang up. It's more of traffic, right? But here's the magic. On the third dial, so many people pick up. I'm willing to say it's an 85% of the people that pick up the phone are picking it up on that second to third dial, right? Because the very first dial, you're a telemarketer. So here's some science to it, right? The very first dial, you are a telemarketer. Nobody knows whose number this is, right? Because we're calling from a random number. The second one is, probably not a telemarketer, but I still don't know this number, so I'm not going to pick it up because they didn't leave a voicemail, right? The third one is, okay, somebody's trying to get a hold of me because nobody calls me 3 times, right? So I'm going to pick up the phone. So it's so important to get that third dial in, right? You have to triple down. That's back to back, right? Something I did learn, so I'll put it out there, is there is such thing as dialing too fast, right? So make sure you dial and you give it about 3 to 4 seconds to let the phone reset on the other line, right? Because if you dial too fast, if the first time it rings and the second time it goes to voicemail, more than likely that phone hasn't reset to accept another call. Okay, so make sure you're giving it enough time to breathe and then dial again. So triple dial, right? Then we go back to, hey, I'm booking appointments, but they're not showing up as a new agent. Here's your big pitfall, okay? You're not booking them today or tomorrow. That's why you got to book your appointments now that they're virtual or over the phone today or tomorrow, right? 24 to 48 hours. You don't want them any farther than that. Now, let me tell you on my personal experience, right? My first couple of weeks dialing, Jordan, I had appointments on the 25th. I had appointments next Saturday. I had appointments right on Wednesday. I had, 3, 4, 5 days from now, but they were all solid appointments. I swear. They said, swear to God on the phone before I said, hey, you're going to be there tomorrow, right? Wait, you're going to be there next Saturday? Swear to God. Okay. Right. They were solid appointments. I swore they were, right? None of them showed up. Why? Because they weren't within 24 to 48 hours, guys, right? It's a mindset. Nothing changed from when I was able to book appointments throughout the week to today and tomorrow. It's amazing how I can get on the phone today. And any one of us, right, that have been doing this for a while, we can literally get on the phone today. And it doesn't matter what kind of lead it is, whether a 50-cent or a brand new A lead. We are booking appointments today and tomorrow, right? It's all about posture and what you're leaving open and the way you sound on the phone. So please take that with you today more than anything, because I think that's one of the biggest things I have from new agents. We have a lot of new agents in our group these past couple months, and that's just what I see, right? So I try to knock that out, put that elephant in the room, right? And don't have that excuse. It is all in your head, right? If you tell them, hey, I have today at 3 o'clock available, if that doesn't work, I have a 6 o'clock today, they're booking them just because I said so. It's that simple. Put that in your head because you are a licensed insurance agent and you're calling them on something they requested, right? So you got to have that posture and that mentality. It is not, I hope I have an appointment. Oh, please say Friday, something, say it. Ain't going to work, guys. Okay. You can literally call. I don't care what kind of lead. And you're going to tell them, hey, today at 3 o'clock is what I have available. They're going to say, okay, and make it happen, right? A big perspective on that. when you call the when you call a internet, right, or you're trying to set up your cable, they tell you tomorrow, and they tell you from 11 to 1 p.m. a 4 or 5 hour window. It's amazing how people say, "Yep, I'll do it." Call off of work, right? Cancel their kid's dentist appointment. I got to be there tomorrow for them to set up my internet and cable, right? If they do it for that, guys, they're going to do it for you. They filled out a form. This is to protect their family. It's insurance. They will make time for whatever you have available. Just have that mentality, right? When are you dialing? Here's another really important thing as a new agent, right? Because we want to get trained, and I know we have all these SoundCloud audios. Other than a conference call for training, right, that's already scheduled, if it's between 8 a.m. and 9:30 local time, right, you can be dialing. It is so important as a new agent that you focus on the activity that pays you the most, right? Your first focus activity. There's a book out there called Eat Your Frog, and it teaches you to do the 3 things that are most important to your business that get you paid, right? Those 3 things, guys, write this down, is going to be dialing, right? So the most important thing that gets you paid is dialing. The second one is running appointments. And the third one is running interviews. Okay. Those are the only 3 activities that get us paid. Everything else is just business on the back end, right? So it's important, if it's between that window, that you're dialing. If you don't have the appointments that you should have, right? If you've booked your 15, 20 appointments and you're a full-time agent, you're good to go, right? You get to work on your business. But if you don't have the appointments that you need to run for that week, if it's Monday through Friday, especially, guys, you should be dialing, right? It's just that simple. The good thing is that window gets smaller as you get better and you start booking more appointments quicker throughout the hours, right? And that's where number 5 comes in, right? Set your goal and don't stop until you hit it, right? So if as a part-time agent, right, you come in here and with your upline, y'all establish, hey, you need to book 10 appointments, right? 10 to 12. That means you don't stop dialing until you book your 10 to 12 appointments, right? It's just like any other job. If you didn't finish what you were supposed to do before it's time to leave, they don't let you leave, right? You're going to have to put in some overtime, or you're going to have to figure it out in the time window that you had, just like any other job. Make sure this is running your own business. You respect your business the same way, right? I play 2 roles in my business. I'm Joe Martinez, the producer, right? And then I'm Joe Martinez, the business owner. And Joe Martinez, the business owner, is not going to let Joe Martinez, the producer, stop dialing until he has his 15 appointments as a full-time agent, right? You have to respect that on your own and make sure you're holding yourself accountable. Okay, that's the biggest opportunity I see as a new agent, right? Everyone asks, hey, you know, what's the downfall? This sounds too easy, right? The fact is that we put it aside and we don't do it, and making ourselves do it because we're sitting at home and we can go grab lunch. We can, you know, wash the dishes. We can put a load of laundry. We can walk the dogs. We can do all these other things that doesn't work in our business. Remember, if you were working for any other company for a job, you couldn't do those things because you were gone at work. So if you couldn't have done it before, you shouldn't be doing it now, is what I like to tell my agents, right? Especially at the beginning, till you get good at what you're doing and you have a system in place. If you could not do it before in your other job, respect yourself the same thing right now and don't do it, right? It's so easy for us to say, oh, well, my wife wants me to go to the grocery store, or I have to go do this really quick, right? I have to. No, you don't. Because before, when they called, you know, when my wife called me and said, hey, Joe, can you go pick up? Nope, I work tonight. Right? That was my answer to her. And it needs to still be there until you're profitable and you're running a good business, right? Let's see. This works. Nice. Setting the right expectations, right? You're going to always hear us talking about massive action, constant correction, right? What's the best way to get you trained? It's putting in a lot of activity and doing it really fast, right? Because I can train you, or you can train yourself, right? And we can do that in a 6-week period, right? Or we can do it in a 6-month period. The only person that controls that is your activity. So it's you. right? So you need to look at the activity that you're putting in, even as a part-time, even as a full-time, right? If you're part-time, just cut all these numbers in half, and that's a great example of what you should be putting in, right? But as a full-time agent, there's no excuse of why we're not dialing 400 to 600 dials, right? Especially your first couple weeks, because you don't have appointments to run, because it's your first time dialing, you can easily get to that 1,000 dial mark, right? It's 28 and a half hours. If you're a full-time agent, you should actually be able to dial more than that, because that's the activity you need, right? You don't have anything else to do. You need a book appointment so we can start teaching you how to prepare for one, right? How to underwrite on your case, right? Which policy you're going to write. So all that takes time, but you can only do it with an appointment, because we don't know what to train you on unless you have somebody to talk to, right? So you got to make sure you're booking appointments and putting in that kind of activity. Now, here's the real big one, right? Great job if you are putting in that activity, but make sure you're counseling on it, right? So the worst thing I can have is somebody that is putting in that activity, right? They're talking to 10, 12, 20 people a day, but they're not booking any appointments, right? That's a big downfall. We need to make sure we are contacting your upline so that we're coaching you every 5 contacts, right? Every 5 people that pick up the phone, whether they hang up, whether they, say, I don't know what you're talking about, whether they say whatever it may be, you call us every 5 people that pick up and say, hey, this is what they told me. What should I say? Right? A really good one is, and please write this one down, because it taught me to get better every single appointment and every single dial. What it's called is a I should have said list, right? So have a notepad, and right on the top put should have said. And every time you hang up the phone and you're like, damn, I should have said this instead, right? Write that down. When you write that down, guys, y'all embed it in your head, so that the next time somebody says that excuse, it automatically comes out of your mouth, right? Don't try to be a wizard and try to memorize it. You won't. I've tried it. It doesn't work. When you write it down, it embeds it in your head, and it helps you remember what you should have said before when it happens, right? And the same thing for running an appointment. Make sure when you get out of your appointment, you're like, darn, I should have said this, and maybe that would have helped. You're probably right. So make sure you write it down. I should have said this, and you embed it into your head, guys. It's a great technique. I learned it from top producers in Symmetry, and every time I did it, let me tell you, when it came up again, I was able to knock it out and make sure I was helping a family. So please make sure you do that. The next one is sufficient resources, right? Resources at the very beginning are going to be your leads, right? Jordan did a great job of breaking them down and looking at, right, what's the number you should have. I'm telling y'all right now, the worst thing you can do as a new agent is go into the system and buy leads without consulting your upline, right? I'm telling you, every time somebody buys leads and I'm like, we didn't talk about that, right? I know they're going to be struggling the next week. Most of the time it happens, it's because they're not getting enough, right? So the worst thing y'all can do, guys, is go into the system and get 10, 50-cent leads and be like, I'm going to write $1,000, $2,000 in production with 10, 50-cent leads. We never told you you can do that. And on the next couple slides, I'm going to explain that, right? So it's so important that you get the resources that you're supposed to get so that you can get the results that you want. Remember that, right? Here's the big number to look at, and we never look at them as individual leads. Is every $250 you invest in leads, you're going to net profit about $1,000 to $1,500. That means more than likely you'll get like 17, right? 1,800, but you take out your lead resource, right? Because we are a business, right? So we have an inventory, right? In our leads, you're able to take that out, and what you profit net is going to be $1,000 to $1,500 consistently over 6 weeks, right? Why we say consistently over 6 weeks is because this is, again, based on your performance, right? Your activity. But here's the big thing, right? This week, you may not write a lot of business because it's your first week and you don't know a lot of anything, right? Next week, you may write 1 policy. The next week, you may write 3 policies. When you total those 3 policies, guys, and you've APV'd about $5,000, $6,000, you break it back out, guys, you're going to make $1,000 to $1,500 on every investment every week. And that's really key. Every week you're investing $250 to make that profit, right? If you're new, you're able to adjust it, right? We can go to lower leads because you got more time instead of you got more investment, or you just don't have the time. So we're looking at half of this, right? If you're a part-time agent. I keep saying this part-time and full-time agent. What does that really look like, right? We just use it based on the time that you have available and the income that you're looking for, right? So full-time, part-time, guys, is very loosely. What we're looking at is the income you're trying to make and the time that you're available based on whatever else you got going on, right? So if we're talking about a part-time agent, we're looking at least, now that everything's virtual, guys, we're looking at 10 plus sits, right? What is 10 plus sits? That means you're able to sit and present, right, to 10 families throughout the week. Easily done within a day and a half, right? Because you're able to schedule out within 30 minutes to an hour all your appointments. As a full-time agent, what you're looking for, right, is 17 to 20 appointments, right? That way you can run 15 of them actually in person or over Zoom, so that you can get the 5 to 7 applications that we teach you throughout the week as a full-time agent. This one's really cool because for me, it puts the insanity down, right? So as an agent, when we come in and we start dialing, and this sets a bar to what kind of lead you're dialing. I'm going to start at the bottom because that's where we usually all start at, right? So down here, we're looking at 50-cent leads. What does this mean, right? To appointments, dialing for appointments. That means on 50-cent leads, every 10 to 12 people that pick up the phone, right? Whether they pick it up and hang up, whether they tell you, I don't know what you're talking about, whether they say that I already got it taken care of, I sold them or whatever. That guys, don't worry about. Just worry about this number right here so that you can find success really fast, and it brings sanity to the madness of dialing, as we call it, right? Every 10 to 12 people that pick up the phone, you're booking one appointment. If you can hold your numbers to that, guys, y'all are doing a great job, right? So every 10 to 12 people that pick up the phone, you should be able to book an appointment on 50-cent leads. We can go higher to the A3 leads, right? That means every 6 to 7 people that pick up the phone, you should be able to book an appointment, right? Don't base it off your very first 6 people, right? This is a law of large numbers. That means after a whole week, if you put in your 1,000 dials and you have your contacts, right? So if you contacted 100 people throughout the week, you should have 10 appointments set, right, throughout the week on 50-cent leads. That, just look at that number, guys. That's what's going to help you understand why you're dialing and why you're getting so many no's, right? We are going for no. You need to make sure you know that, right? This is where I love to explain the sanity in that, right? Again, we'll start at the 50-cent leads, right? So as a new agent, right, if I want to write 2 to 4 applications, I need to have 120 50-cent leads, right? This is where I love to explain it really good, right? And let's move up to the 100 leads, right? To the A5s, so that it can be simple math for everybody, right? So every 100 leads that I have, I get to 2 to 4 applications. Well, we know you write 1 to 2 applications on average per home, right? So here's a really cool fun facts for y'all to understand what you're about to experience dialing these leads, right? More than likely, we close half of our appointments as a new agent, right? So if we're going to write, let's take the average number in here, 3. If we're going to write 3 applications, that means more than likely you have 6 appointments to set in this batch of leads, right? Because we're going to close half of our appointments. Okay. So if we know we have 6 appointments out of this 100, does anybody know how many no's I'm going to get out of this 100? If I have 6 appointments, can anyone answer that? James.
94.
94. So realize that number. 94 people are going to say no. They're going to say, I don't want this. I'm not interested. They're going to tell you whatever they're going to tell you. They're not going to book an appointment. So you have to know that number, because when you get 15 no's, you're going to call us and you're going to be like, I bought these A5 leads and like 20 people already told me no. Nobody wants this, right? Well, guess what? 94 people are going to tell you no, and 6 are going to book an appointment, and you're going to write 2 to 4 applications. These numbers are amazing, guys. This is what made it so easy for me to start in Symmetry, because I understood all these numbers, right? So make sure we know this as an agent coming in, right? Just look at this, whatever applications you say we're going to write, realize, right? 6 appointments, same thing for 80, right? Take 6 appointments out of here, and that's how many no's you're going to get, and you can go all the way up, right? So super cool to look at as a new agent, so that you realize what you're going to experience on the leads that you have. Now, tips for in the home, right? It's following the real system. Make sure you know it back and forth, just like the phone script. The greatest thing about the real system is it walks you through everything you should be hitting on to make sure you're getting that family covered, right? Because we're, in reality, guys, we're really not even salesmen, right? Because the sale was made, guys, when that form was filled out, right? These families bought a home, they're excited, they get a form and it says, hey, do you want life insurance for mortgage protection? Yes. They filled it out and send it back to us, right? They put in the whole thing, put it in an envelope, walked it to the mailbox, send it to us, and we got it in our hands, right? They said yes when they picked up the phone. They said yes when they booked your appointment. They said yes when they showed up for your appointment, right? You're already like 4 or 5 yeses deep in this appointment, and these people are looking for it, right? It's like when somebody tells you, the car salesman, right? When somebody walks up to a dealership and they tell the car salesman, I'm just looking. BS, right? They're there to buy a car. They're not looking for a Ford because they're at the Toyota dealer, right? They're there to purchase a vehicle, just like they showed up for your appointment to purchase insurance. That's a hard fact, right? So it's making sure we follow our real system so that we can help them through the process to understand what they need in coverage and what fits their budget, okay? Same thing, booking the appointments no longer than an hour apart. Don't show your numbers till they understand their situation. That's so important, right? Because again, we're not salesmen. We're not just saying, hey, welcome to our Zoom meeting. This is what it costs, right? We're on emotional purchase, okay? We are an emotional purchase. We're there to cover that family based on their emotion. So it's our job to draw that emotion, right? So we're asking very difficult questions, right? And it's in our real system. It's in our role and purpose. It's asking them, hey, let me understand this right, Jordan, right? So if Jared were to pass away, we don't have enough income to make the mortgage payments. So we should put something in place today to get that covered. That's what we're saying. Great, right? We're asking and we're saying those bold statements, guys, because we have to make sure they understand what this is doing for them, right? I can't tell you how many families that we got covered that were super excited about this because they thought it was hard for them to get covered. And this was a huge concern for them, right? My parents are a great example, right? My mother could not make she couldn't afford the bills right now, right? Without my father's income. It is so important to make sure we have something in place that if something were to happen to my father, that we have her protected and she's taken care of. We have something in place right now for that. It is so important for y'all to understand our role and purpose here, and that's to protect the family in case something bad happens, right? And that's why it's important to establish why your role and purpose with that family at the very beginning, and explaining what you're going to do and what you're going to help them with today. When they tell you yes on that, guys, you're covering that family, okay? It's just that simple. Here's another cool little tip. Look professional, right? Cool thing is, if you're on Zoom, it's only got to be, as Jordan would say, from the waist up, right? You can be in sweatpants, you can be in boxer shorts, whatever. Just look presentable from the waist up, from whatever they can see. Here's another really big one. Make sure your background looks professional, right? I got my license up, SFG, whatever, family pictures. Make sure you look professional. Make sure you're somebody they want to do business with, right? Brian Howe said it one time. You don't want to look like you're in your basement, right, with dim lights, and you're just in a muscle shirt and hey, you want to sign up to $150 in insurance, right? You're gonna look all creepy, guys. And I say jokingly, but make sure y'all are looking at your background, make sure you're well lit, right? I got plenty of light in my office. They got lights for that you can put behind your monitors or whatever you're using so that you can be brighter, your face, and they can see you very clear. So all those things are things you want to look at because you want to look professional. Here's a big one. Listen to them and don't just respond, right? So many times in an appointment, we change from what we were going to present to what they need because of the conversation we're having in the home, right? So here's a really big question that y'all can write down is, hey, do y'all know if one of you, right, if the husband were to pass away, will the missus stay in the home or is she going to move back to wherever where the kids live? Because if you had a full mortgage payoff and you know she's leaving, there is no need to pay off that mortgage, right? We only need a critical period or an equity protection, what we call, right? Is you only need some time to get them covered so that she can make the right decision for her. So that's literally understanding and listening to the client in the home or in your presentation. So super important to do that. Be prepared to not be prepared and know everything, right? It's okay. As a new agent, that's why you have an upline. During your appointment, guys, you can call us and say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. Let me get my manager on the phone and let's get you the right answer, right? And we get to talk to the family sometimes or we give you the answer. It solidifies you and edifies you so much that you're a great professional by getting the right answer to them in front of them, and they will do business with you, right? They're like, oh, this guy or this gal really, you know, we had a question, they didn't know, they got us the answer right now. That's somebody I want to do business with because they give me a response to what I want right here and now. So super important. We work as a team and that's what we mean, right? You have an upline, you get to counsel with us. We help you prepare for your appointments. If you ever feel like you're getting yourself in a situation that you don't know something about, it's because you haven't reached out to us, right? I'm just going to tell you that, or you didn't do the research and prepare yourself for your appointment. Sticking to our core carriers. This is super important. As a new agent, guys, you're only going to do business with the 4 core carriers, right? You want to stay super profitable and make it super easy. You're going to stick to Mutual of Omaha and American Amicable, right? That is the easiest business to write, pays you your highest commission, and it covers the family instantly, usually. Okay? Mutual of Omaha and American Amicable, guys. Stay with them. You don't have to veer off to anything. Okay. My best year, I wrote a ton of production and like 90% was Mutual of Omaha and 8% was American Amicable. I didn't have to veer off to cover all the families we did, neither do you. Protect your mindset. This is super huge as a new agent because it's tough to do what we do, not physically, mentally, right? Because remember, if you're dialing 50 cent or those A5 leads, you're going to deal with 95 to 110 notes throughout your week, right? And it's draining, guys. Right? You start doubting yourself. You start doubting the system. This is what keeps you strong mentally, right? We teach you, right? Our book of the month this month, and we've been talking about it all week, especially in our organization, is The War of Art, right? By Stephen Pressfield. Make sure y'all are reading this book. 10 pages a day is what we teach. Right? If you do 10 pages a day, you'll be able to finish it throughout the month. On our Monday morning calls, we have somebody talk about it, right? And kind of put out there what they're getting out of it. And usually you can connect to that kind of stuff, right? Like, hey, you know what? That does help me out throughout the day. It keeps my mind strong. So make sure you're plugging in and you're reading the book of the month. Who was it? My sister. My sister yesterday, right? Because she's getting to be a new agent out there, said, hey, Joe, what's one of the best things you can tell me, right, or help me with so that I can be successful as a producer, right, or as a new agent, right? It's protecting your mindset and plugging into the system 100%, right? It's reading that book. I can't tell you how many times when my business started getting iffy and it was always dealing back to not plugging in, right, to our daily calls or reading the book of the month with the whole group, right? It keeps your mind strong, guys, and it keeps your why really big. So make sure you're doing that. Here's the next one, right? Is make sure you're prioritizing the conference calls and your dial over the dial time and you're running appointments, right? I can't tell y'all how many times, sometimes I get a call from an agent saying, hey, can you help me out, right? And I don't answer. It's because I'm on the conference call, right? We know that what keeps us strong, profitable, and with the right mindset and learning on the business that we're running is plugging into the people that are teaching us to run our business, right? So it's super important that we're plugged into that. Steering clear of vampires, right? What do we mean by energy vampires? Anyone that's negative, right? Like, this is a new venture for you guys, and you don't need to be around somebody telling you, hey, what are you doing over there, right? Like, that's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that, right? Because I know I still to this day have people tell me that. Here's a great, Chris Cook told me this the very first time I met him, and I have never forgotten this, Jordan. I love this, right? Why would you take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with? Man, that was gold, guys, when I really understood that. It was the way he told me. I don't know what it was. It just clicked. Maybe because I was just looking at this for the first time and I did have a lot of energy vampires around me, right? But think about it, right? So Symmetry is telling you that you can work from home and make $150,000 a year from home. You're able to build an organization that can get up to the 200, 300,000 in passive income, right? That's what we're teaching y'all, because that's what's happening, right? But we turn around and we look to our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our fathers, our spouses, right? And we say, hey, what do you think about this? We're asking somebody, and I say this very respectful, a lot of times we're asking a $30,000 earner, right? A $20,000 earner, a $12 an hour position earner, a $25 an hour earner, right? Let's say even a $60 an hour earner that works 70 hours a week, has to be there and has no time off. We're asking them, hey, what do you think of this system? They're going to tell you the same thing I would have said and I said when I worked 65, 70 hours in the restaurant. That's crazy. It takes me 70 hours to make 100K. So I don't know what you're talking about. That's BS, right? So why are we taking advice from people we wouldn't switch places with? If you know somebody, right, a business owner that's in the income that we're talking about, that's in the lifestyle that we're talking about, ask them. Because trust me, they're going to tell you, do it. That sounds like a great program, right? Because they're doing it. So just think about that, guys, when we're asking advice on somebody we wouldn't trade places with, right? As a joke, I always talk about, right? Why would a married couple ask the single guy, hey, can you give us some advice on marriage? Very much there, right? So just think about that, guys, when we're asking advice to somebody else that's not making that income, right? And I'm not saying don't turn around and get advice. Get advice from somebody that's making 150K and that's running their own business. Because I guarantee you they're going to give you great advice about this system. Enrolling into your Thrive and Quility website, right? So as a new agent, make sure we're plugging in, we're going through all our training. Make sure you're carving out time for you, right? Because this is mentally exhausting, not physically. So, you know, I myself love a date night with my wife. So Thursdays at 7 o'clock, we have that scheduled in my week. Sundays, I love to take my kids out to the lake. I have that in my schedule and I do it, right? So make sure you're putting in that time for you. Make sure you're plugging in time to SoundCloud training, which is our agents in Symmetry that are top earners and writers, right? They're teaching us how to work the system and write the product. So make sure we're plugging into that. And the Success to Telesales training, as a new agent, guys, when you go into Quility and you go into training and you go to telesales, there's 4 videos, guys. Those 4 videos in reality explain the entire system. They even run an appointment on Zoom from beginning to end to show you how to run an appointment. It couldn't get any easier than that, right? The big thing, guys, that we got coming up in September 8th and 9th is registering a conference, right? It's getting around the training. Y'all want to know what taught me to write 240 my very first year, or should I say get paid 240? I wrote 387,000 in premium. It was getting to these conferences. I was around the top producers in the country. They were explaining what they were doing in detail. And after our meeting, I got to ask them all the questions, and they broke down everything. Hey, this is what I'm doing. These are the leads I'm getting. This is how I'm doing it, right? This is the mindset I have. This is what it takes in investment. They answered every single question I can possibly throw at them, right? How you get around that is getting to September 8th and 9th to Orlando, Florida for our meeting so that you can learn and get trained, right? All of us usually on this call are saying we're full-time agents. We want to make 120 to 150,000 in a year. That's how you get trained, guys. You got to get trained. Okay. So make sure we get there. This one is wrong. It says 99 if you've already been an agent with us, that means contracted before the 1st of August, it's now 129. But if you're a new agent and your spouse is coming, it is 99. Just remember your first 9 months as this are the hardest. And when I say the hardest, income wise, right? Because we're only working on our 75% advance, because when we get to month 10, 11, and 12, we start getting our back end pay, right? So then we're operating on our full income. What does that look like? I don't want to confuse a lot of y'all, right? But at the very bottom right here, or in the bottom section, really where it says on month 10, 11, and 12, right? Focus on that part where month 10, 11, and 12, you're getting your back end pay, right? Per policy, you're getting $50 on back end pay, right? We always teach you that. On average, as a full-time agent, guys, we're writing 5 applications a week. So we're getting 20 applications in for the month, right? 20 times 5 is simply $1,000. So that means when you hit month 10, on average, right, we're going to start getting 20 applications in back end pay. So in month 10, when month 10 starts, we're getting an extra $1,000 in income, right, from our back end pay. This is where it gets really cool. And I never even understood it, guys, until I got to month 11 and 12. And I was like, holy crap, right? So that happens 3 times and it stays there, guys, if your business stays consistent, right? I came in here and I was very consistent with my business. I averaged 30 applications a month, right? But just for numbers, look at this right here at 20 applications, right? So we're at month 10. We got $1,000 at the beginning of month 10. Month 11, all your policies that hit month 10 are now in month 11. So they're paying out as well. And new policies are hitting month 10. So now you have $2,000 in income right out the gate on that month. Even cooler when we get to month 12, right? If you're consistent, you have all 3. You have month 10, 11, and 12 paying out in all your policies. So now you have at the very beginning of your month, right? You know you're starting with $3,000 in back end pay. That was the coolest thing I ever saw, guys. I averaged 30 applications, right? I'm excited for Brian Howe when he gets to month 10, 11, and 12. I had $4,000 to $6,000, guys, in back end pay coming in every month. It was insane. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Building a business, right, and making it bulletproof is building a business. So the way we do that, guys, is making sure we're bringing people on and we're growing your agency, right? How you do that is directly by people you know, right? We call it your warm market, right? Friends, family, anyone that you're interested, that you think would be good business partner with you. That's key, right? Somebody you would want to work with. Indirectly is people you know that are in the job market, right? That from a friend of a friend, whatever it may be. Facebook is a great one. And, you know, just we like to teach our guys, it's setting up your future, right? We talk about when we join this new field, hey, is there a 401k? Is there some kind of retirement? It's the best retirement you can possibly ever look at, right? Because I worked somewhere for 20 years, guys. This is hard facts. I worked somewhere for 20 years, Jordan. And in my 401k, I did not have a year's worth of my salary. It was sad. It was very sad. It wasn't even half of my salary. It was really sad, right? Because of 2009 and 2002. Okay. In 3 years here, guys, already I'm looking at anywhere from 12. I'm on average right now, guys, at 12,000 passive income. And it's only getting bigger. This is the greatest retirement I have ever seen in my life. My kids, my wife, our family is going to be set, guys, in the next 5 years. I'm so excited. So I teach y'all to all help and do that for yourselves, right? It's building an organization. We help you. It's as simple as that little video that we sent to all of you at the very beginning is, hey, are you interested in a new career? Are you looking for something different? You send them that video and say, hey, do you want to interview with either my upline or myself? And it's that simple, guys. That's how you start it. So I'm going to open it up. It went a little long. It's my first time with Jordan's little presentation here, which I love. Thank you. Ask all the questions y'all want, guys. Unmute yourself and fire away. Tino, I know your brain's thinking.
It is, man. I actually do have a question. If it's relating to the leads, right? I know you go from 50 cents to the A leads. Is there a time frame on those leads, and the reason why some are 50 cents and others maybe more than that?
So on the bonus leads, you're going to start right. The A1 leads, those are $8, $7.99. They're going to go all the way down to 50 cents, guys. The difference in the leads is how recently they were turned into the company, or now they've been recycled once or twice, right? So I get a brand new A lead, or better yet, we'll say Jeffrey Miller got a brand new A lead, right? He didn't get a hold of that family. After 5 weeks, it gets put back into the system, right? Because he's getting new leads every single week. Trust me, he's not going back and dialing that lead because he's got new ones he has to dial. Same thing happens to me, right? So then it becomes an $8 lead. If you got it, Tino, you'd have it for 5 weeks. If you couldn't get a hold of him or didn't sell it, it'd go back into the system, and now it's $1 cheaper, right? And so on and so forth. So if it's in our leads, this is something really cool. I didn't know about Symmetry until I joined it, is we own our own lead system. So no other agent outside of Symmetry touches our leads, right? So if it's still in our system, it just hasn't been sold, right? And I can't tell you how many leads, Tino, I would get, especially when I had a ton of A leads coming in, that would tell me I'm not ready yet, right? I just moved into the house and you bought a home not too long ago, right? So you think about the conversation me and you had, right? I called you and you were like, hey, you know what? I just got into my home. Let me figure out my bills. Call me back in a couple months and we'll talk, right? That's what all these people are doing, right? And we get to call them, right, at a $5 lead, at a 50-cent lead, whatever it may be, and now they're ready, right? Because whenever they pick up and they book an appointment, they're ready. Because I can't tell you how many times as a 1A lead or a brand new A lead that they're just telling us they're not ready, right? So our leads are just fire, dude. I mean, I love that DJ joined our group because now I can say, right, 50-cent leads. He's the top producer in all of Symmetry, right? That man has wrote in over 350,000, works nothing but 50-cent leads, right? 50-cent leads, guys, can be a year to 2 years old, right? They're just now ready, right? And the numbers just don't lie, right? I called him one time and I said, hey, just help me figure this out because I got a lot of new people starting and they're all starting on 50 cents. He goes, it's simple, Joe. And I loved it because I hadn't even asked him about, the ratio or anything. He goes, every 10 people that pick up, I book an appointment to write one. I was like, that's our system, right? He just knows it and he just does enough of it, right? That man dials 1,200 or 1,500 dials up every single week. That's all it is.
Okay. And then you also mentioned about the leads where you have agents that purchase leads and you recommend for them to get advice from either an upline or yourself before purchasing the leads. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, because it's going to be based on your skill and on your budget, right? And the income you're looking for, right? So, and we'll just use you a little bit as an example, right? Let's say we wanted to make $100,000 for the year, right? I'm not going to tell you get $50 of 50-cent leads and you're going to write 25, you're going to income 2,500, right? That's not going to happen. Sometimes when an agent goes off by themselves, Tino, they do that, right? They'll buy $50, $100 worth of, I don't know, A1 leads, right? But that's not enough to income what we're talking about, right? You need to make $2,500 a week if you're going to be a 100K earner, right? So we're going to teach you, you need to get to $400 to $500 in leads a week so that you can profit $2,000 to $3,000 a week. Right? So you got to have the right resources, right? When we're talking about that, you got to have the right resources to make the income you want to make, right? Brian Howe, Jeff Miller, they're writing 20, 30K a month. They don't buy $200 worth of leads, right? We won't ever teach you that, right? They're investing $500 to $700, $800 in leads, right? So that the next week they can profit 5-6 grand in a week, right? You got to have the right resources to the income you're looking for. So that's what we mean by that, right? So don't go into the system and just get leads. We'll talk about what the time you have available, right? And the investment that you're looking at and the income you want to make before you get leads, right? It's a downfall when some of us just go buy leads and don't get what the results we want, then it's a waste of money.
Okay, thanks, man.
Good questions.
Joe,
Yo,
good morning, sir.
how's it going?
It's good. Going good, man. You're spitting some fire. Hey, real quick, can you go back to that slide with the lead breakdown of like the A leads and how many appointments should be set on each like tier? And do you mind if I take a screenshot of that?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to email it to you.
Oh, okay. That works.
I'll email you that whole package.
All right. Appreciate it.
And anyone
That's all I
that
got.
get with our upline, right? And we will make sure y'all have all those things with y'all, right? And especially, I was going to show it, but make sure y'all have also in front of y'all guys as a new agent is the promotional guideline, right? Knowing what you need your first 2 months to get your first raise. And then super important is the bonus, the fast track bonus, right? So many agents in our organization right now are getting their first $1,000, $2,000 bonuses. Several agents have already won. I think 2 agents have already won the Costa Rica trip in our organization. Another one in our group, Caroline, she's like 10 grand away from winning it. She's going to win it. So make sure y'all have that in front of y'all because it's $7,000 in cash that y'all can earn in your first 3 months. It's a lot. So make sure.
Are you going to email that?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question here, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are talking about having a background that look professional
Correct.
and learning through, I'm a new agent, like learning through the new training checklist
Uh-huh.
and the real system. I see that they telling us to avoid to be a professional visitor.
So is your question on the background? Is that what you're asking me?
No, let me explain again. There are 2 things here. Don't be a professional visitor, like when you're going to a home, seeing a customer, don't be a professional. Now your background should look professional. I think those 2 are 2 different, right? Now to get to be able like to get this kind of logo, like the SFG logo, to have a background that look professional, do we have to go to the quality store or where do we go to have really a good branding? That's one question.
I mean, go ahead.
I don't know if I can go to the second question after you answer 2 or you go one by one.
Let me answer that one for everyone, right? So
Okay.
I just bought these at, I think, Hobby Lobby, or better yet, my sister did, right? She takes care of all our decoration in our office. But so you can decorate, right? Anything, just make sure it looks professional. I think Eric Rush, that's an app, right, that you can get from Symmetry, a background that he has behind him. So there's a lot of ways you can get a background for your Zoom. I like to be in a real setting, right? So I make sure I'm against the wall and it looks professional, right? I got my license up, so it's super easy. You can do that. You just don't want to be like on your bedside, right? You don't want a light right above you because that hurts how you look, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want a closet open behind you, a bathroom, right? Just look at your background. Just pay attention to it. That's easy.
The background that I have, actually, you can download right off the Symmetry site.
Okay, good.
I mean, if you can't find it, reach out to me. I'll help you find it.
Right, I will. Thank you. Okay, coming to the second question, because there is one point you missed there. Don't be a professional visitor. Like when you're going to a home, seeing a customer, don't be professional. And you got to know everything. Those things, how you can pass those 2 things.
Okay, I think you're saying it backwards. I said, make sure you're professional, right? And you're not going to know everything.
No, I understand with the point, but what I'm asking, like they're telling us don't be professional when you are visiting a customer, right?
Right. Well, they mean suit and tie, right? You don't have to be in suit and tie.
Okay.
How I'm dressed right now is when I went in person, that's how I went, right? I went with a polo shirt or I went with a button shirt, untucked in jeans, and shoes, right? And I just look for, right, business casual, and I, haircut messed up. So you want to just look good and look professional, right? Business casual. We don't force the suit tie insurance agent is what we mean by that.
All right.
Great question. Anyone else? Bueller.
Guys, these are great questions. Please feel free to get all of your questions out, because I promise you, Amadou, somebody was probably thinking the same question. You know what I mean? And so thank you for getting that out. I love that. Anybody else have any other questions regarding your first 90 days?
I do.
Zero. Oh, who's speaking?
My name's Amy Serdanovich.
Oh, cool.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So my question is, I have a lot of friends that are agents as far as real estate agents. Can I reach out to them and give them flyers to give to their potential people that are selling their homes or buying homes for mortgage insurance?
Yep. So you can reach out to anyone, right? You can go Facebook, you can go anywhere, right? Let everybody know you're a mortgage protection agent and you can help them with that situation. I will tell you, most states, they can't legally hand them out to every single person they sell it to, right? But they can absolutely recommend you, right? Because most of them have relationships with their clients. So they are legally able to say, hey, my friend, Amy does mortgage protection if you want to give her a shout.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
so, yeah, they can send people your way. Absolutely.
I know a lot of times when people are looking at houses, I remember when I was looking at houses, different realtors and everybody would just leave things on the kitchen counter.
Yep, exactly. So they can do all kinds of stuff. So
perfect.
Great idea.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and that's something about Symmetry that's awesome, right? We can warm market ourselves out there, right? We don't have to necessarily use our leads. They are our biggest resources, but people buying homes, friends, families, other business owners, right? I think we were at the Vegas meeting where somebody says, hey, I know a couple business owners that, for their employees, they were writing policies for them, right? Because they wanted to offer that as a business. So that we can source out people to help in so many ways. That's the cool thing about Symmetry, right? This is get excited about it, run your business, and go find clients, right?
Okay, one more question. My current job, I'm a business director at assisted living. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of employees that are looking for health insurance, something different than what we have. Is there something with Symmetry as far as health insurance for them that I could refer them to? Or
so we do life, right? So in the life realm, we'll be there. Even stuff like retirement, right, with IULs and annuities and things like that. But on the health side, we don't have health coverage.
We haven't got into that. Or do you think they're going to get into that market later?
That's just a bigger conversation, right? Because it's been taken out of the market because of what's happened out there. So right now, as of now, it's not even offered.
Okay, that's fine. I was just questioning.
PNC is in the future.
What was that?
I said PNC is in the future, though.
Okay, yeah, I'm going for my license in that right now.
So you won't even need a license.
No?
We're going to do it. So.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you.
Great questions. Anyone else? Anyone have some struggles and overcame something that y'all seen, even, if you're a new agent, a couple weeks, months in the field that you would like to share, right? That's always a good experience. Anything. Y'all gotta have questions.
Yeah, I will go ahead and just share my initial experience, guys. My background is sales. Who all has a sales background here, coming in here? James, Andy, Dalton. What's up, Dalton? Nice to meet you, man. Let's see. So there might be some of us who do, some of us who don't. You probably have a customer service background of some kind where you've worked with people before. But mine was a sales background, and it was literally the hardest sale that's out there, which was timeshare. So basically people are coming in, they're like, I'm sitting here for 90 minutes with you and I'm going to walk out with some tickets. And the way that their system was set up, that you would keep them there for 7 hours and then they're going to spend 20 grand with you, which is just absolutely mind blowing. It didn't help anybody, but their system worked. That was the thing that was like a flash, or not flashlight, but like a light bulb moment in my head, was just like, if I do what the training says, then I'm going to make the money that they say I'm going to make. So that was the only bit. I'm talking 23 years old, doesn't know their head from their butt kind of person, came in here and was told, hey, here's the system. Here's what you just have to say. We had back then, I think it was Ashley Tart in the Home was the SoundCloud we all listened to for our training. We didn't have any web training. Everything was paper. We still had paper apps back then. They were starting to come out with the electronic applications. And they said, if you do A, B, and C, you will help families this week, as long as, of course, you sit with 15 families a week full time. And in my first, 3 weeks, 6 weeks here? My first, I'll say my first 6 weeks, we brought in like 9-10 grand into our house, and I was just mind blown. I was like, so awesome. Yet again, another system that works. But my biggest downfall was that I took the next 2 weeks off, because I mean, why not? I had money in the bank and I could stop. And then guess what ended up happening? I didn't do the next 6 weeks making 9 grand. I actually did a whole lot worse. And it's funny because it's the same person, but what happened? It was the fact that I thought I knew what I was doing instead of relying on the system and remaining green. So if I could give you guys any advice, if you're coming in here and you need initial success, sit with the amount of families that Joe just covered with you. Invest in the leads, the amount of leads that Joe covered with you. Do the 1,000 dials a week that Joe is covering with you. And follow the real system, follow the best system, follow the scripts. Don't just do what Joe is saying. Have faith, have trust that what Joe is sharing with you is a proven system, because it is, but have faith that it's going to work, and just do what you're going to do. Do the system and watch what happens. Try to prove it wrong. Anytime I've been in a slump, I've mentally said, you know what, Symmetry, this is on you now. I'm going to do exactly what you say. And if I fail, then it's on you, buddy. And I always make money right after I do that. So I'm just throwing out there as far as initial success. If you need it, if you really need it coming in here, if you need to replace a good income, do what the system says. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I love that. Just realize, guys, it works. We've all been doing it for years and making a living, taking care of our families. It's coming in here and following the system. I can't emphasize that enough. And at the very beginning, it's a funnel, right? It's people you talk to this week that say, call me next week. And maybe a family you talk to that will call you next week and they're ready for the coverage. But you start building that funnel and it helps you write those 5 to 10 applications, right? So many people on our team just this week have already written 3-4 applications, guys, and it's been 2 days into it, right? And it's because they're consistently calling, talking to more people, calling, talking to more people. I really want y'all to understand this, right? And just because I'm growing with Symmetry, right? And I'm growing my business and just talking to more and more people that I really hold dear in my heart, right? Because I'm talking out, Tino, my cousin, my uncles, friends from my high school. And I can't say this enough, guys. I really want y'all to understand. You've been hired to work from home and earn 150 grand, right? And all it takes, guys, is dialing and talking to people. Like it's not a joke, right? We're all of us on here, right? Brian Howe's making way more than that, right? And all he does, guys, he's in his office right now at his house and he's dialing and talking to people. Like, just understand that, right? And anytime you think you can't make it, just understand it just takes one more phone call, right? And keep on going and talk to another family, because this is sales, right? So, one day you write an app like James did yesterday, right? 3,200 APV. That means he made like 2,800 in one home, right? In one appointment yesterday, approved. It's crazy, right? And then he wrote one little app, right? And made $89, right? In one day, guys. I can't tell y'all enough. This is crazy, right? And somebody in one of our last meetings said it, right? Somebody said, I think it was in Vegas, Brian, I don't know if you remember. He goes, somebody said, hey, if you want to earn a crazy amount of income, you're going to have to do some crazy things, right? And they call this crazy, guys, and all we do is talk on the phone to people, run presentations. That's it. It is literally that simple. You want to create a passive income, interview people and bring people to your team, right? That's all we can teach on, right? And it's that simple. Help a family or help a friend, right? And your family's being protected because you're making an income for yours. So, I mean, questions on that? That's all it is, guys. It's super simple. Keep that activity up and you'll find success. And the only person, and I say this with love, guys, the only reason you're not making 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 in a month is because of you. It ain't the system. It ain't because of anything. I realized that at the very beginning because I had my pitfalls, right? I'd have a couple great months and then it, you know, and I'd complain because I'd make $4,000 in a month, right? And that was bad for me. And I would turn around and I'm the only person to blame because I'd be sitting at home and I'd turn on Netflix, right? Or I'd go drop off my kid at school when I should have been on a call, right? We have to make decisions at the very beginning to make your business work, right? Anyone that's owned a business has to understand that. And anyone that has had a real job before this, you got to be at work when you got to be at work. There is no excuses. You're the only person to blame here because you're the boss, the employee, and the business owner. So I'll leave y'all with that, guys. If y'all don't have any questions, we'll end this call. Y'all have a great week. Make sure you hit your $200. My best coach as a new agent. $200 a day relentlessly. And every 5 contacts, get with your upline. And you will see the difference by the end of the week. I can assure you that. So it's a challenge. Go get it. Y'all have a good one. Bye.